Welcome back to the channel. So today is the first ever edition of Journal with me. I thought this might be a fun series if you are just getting into journaling as I am, and so we can go on this journey together and we can be journaling buddies. So this is the Miracle Journal. I did get this off of TikTok. Nice little quote to start us off, and then we get to the commitment to self. So this is kind of a fun thing where you sign this little commitment to self, and just really commit to doing this journal to the best of your abilities and filling it out honestly and wholly. Not like spiritual holy, but like HWHOLY holy. So just you fill out the whole thing basically. So this is just a kind of a nice quote getting us into the first little section of work. We are starting out with the question, how do you attract the things you desire, which is that first little box. So I wrote in here, I attract the things I desire by picturing them and picturing the feeling of having the item or attaining the item. Because I feel like that physically just helps me with manifesting the things that I have been desiring. Although it's not really working too well. All right, next question is, do you believe a higher power exists? How has this belief influenced you? And I wrote, I'm not sure about a higher power, but I do think there is something out there beyond us. And I don't know, it really hasn't influenced me a significant amount, but as I'm getting more into my spiritual journey, I guess it can potentially. The next question is, in what ways do you believe you have the power to shape your future and dictate your destiny? And I said, I believe I have the power to shape my future. Not sure about destiny, but I believe I am very headstrong and stubborn, and that will help me to shape my future because if I set my mind to something, I'm getting it done. So, kind of a long one, but it is an interesting question. So, getting into the next question on the second page, it says, do you have any beliefs about yourself, the world, society, or your upbringing that you find limit you and your power? And I said, I find that I underestimate myself quite often. I think that does limit me because I don't value myself as much as I should. I think my upbringing did have a significant amount to do with that because I have been overweight for quite some time, so I did get bullied for that growing up. Getting into the last question on this page, this says, in what ways can you seek to disprove these limiting beliefs around your ability to create your dream life? I said, I think my biggest issue is that I really don't believe in myself in ways that I should. I don't trust my gut enough. I do have fairly good intuition, but this is an area I'd like to work on. I believe that improving my self-esteem would be helpful as well, and something I can work on in therapy so I can get tools to better work on these things and really start manifesting my dream life and believing that I'm worthy of that. But it's taken a long time and it takes a lot of internal work sometimes to get there, but I think we all get there at some point, some sooner than others, and I am hoping to be on the sooner side of things so I can start doing dope shit. I don't know. But yeah, that's the goal. Is I just want to live a really cool, beautiful life and be able to do fun stuff and be able to create really cool experiences. All right. And then moving into the last little page we'll get into for this video, but this next question is, write about a time when you were inspired by another person's success when attracting something into your life. And I said, my cousin, this is a very hardworking, yet still hardworking person, yet still makes an effort to show up in a very positive way. This person is also extremely kind and very level-headed and inspires me to want to follow that example and just show up in a very positive, genuine way for people in everyday life and be just a very caring and compassionate human being. And that's what this person is for me, and thankfully I'm related to them, so it works out. But yeah, would really love to kind of emulate that a little bit more. And this last section is interesting. So this is, make a list of people who inspire you and believe your dreams can become reality. celebrities, authors, family, friends, etc. And I wrote my cousin, who I wrote about in the previous prompt. I wrote my best friend, as she is fearless and has a lot of tenacity. My mom, as she has a very good ability to plan and has a really great level of detail. That made just me really in awe of her growing up, because she was a vice president of a company, still made time for her kids. We got to do a lot of cool stuff as kids, and that had to do a lot with her level of detail and planning. And then I also wrote my brother for chasing his dreams and taking names.